Wondering why I decided to study foreign languages? Because I don't want to end up in a situation like this one Caliph from a fairy tale. Just listen to this.
Caliph Stork.
A long time ago, there was this Caliph, the ruler of Baghdad. He never studied anything. He just sat by the window all the time, looking at the little birdies and thinking. I am Caliph. I am the ruler of my land. I can do anything I want, and yet I cannot understand what these little birdies are chirping about. Caliph became so sad and unhappy that he started crying his eyes out like a little baby. All sorts of doctors were called in, and they tried to help Caliph, but no one could make him happy again. And then one day, a strange little man showed up at the palace. He was very short, but his nose was very long. He had donkey's ears and stuck out under his turban. And there was a parrot perched on his shoulder. "Oh, Caliph, I came to help you," said the little man. "I know exactly how to make you happy again. Eat this fruit, do a somersault, and then shout very loudly. Marathon! Oh no. You shout, Matador! No, not Matador. What's the foreign word that we were supposed to say? Oh, I remember. Do a somersault and then shout very loudly, Mutabor! Then you'll be able to turn into any animal, bird, or fish you want to. And after you do your transformation, you'll be able to understand what the animals are talking about. But remember, if you laugh, you will forget the word Mutabor, and you won't be able to turn back into a human again. Caliph ate the grape right away. He did a somersault and then shouted, Mutabor! I wish to turn into a stork. And boom, Caliph checked himself out in the mirror. He had a beak instead of his nose. His neck was long, his head was small. His legs were like sticks, and he had a little tail too. It's like the fun house mirror. Caliph couldn't help it and started laughing so hard. And of course, he forgot all about the outlandish, foreignish word, just like that. Caliph Stork clipped his beak and did some somersaults, but he couldn't turn back into a human again. Then the little man climbed up to the throne and told Caliph, That's the end of you, my little birdie. Now I will be ruler of Baghdad. Give me that Caliph turban now. That's when Caliph Stork realized that the little man had tricked him, and he burst into tears again, even worse than before. Okay, stop crying, the little man told Caliph. I will grant you 1 hour. If in that time you can find out my name, you will turn back into human again. Caliph felt really lost. How will I be able to find out his name? That's when the parrot flew over to Caliph and whispered into his ear, I'm going to tell you the name of the little man. But in return, you have to marry me. Oh no, this is simply unbelievable. A stork can't marry a parrot, but there was nothing he could do. And that's when the parrot told Caliph, Listen to what I tell you very carefully, but be sure not to laugh again. The little guy with the long nose is really the evil wizard. He turns an illiterate person into wild animals. And this is his name, Rumpelstiltskin. As soon as Caliph Stork heard this, he rushed over to the evil wizard. The evil wizard was sitting on the throne, kicking up his feet. The Caliph shouted at the top of his lungs, Hey, you Rumpelstiltskin! Get off my throne! The evil wizard got really annoyed. How did you find my name? And he got so angry that he exploded into pieces. After the evil wizard had exploded, the evil spell was broken. And Caliph Stork turned back to human again. He looked at the parrot and he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of the parrot that had been there a second ago, beautiful Princess Jasmine was standing before him. Caliph was very happy. He married her, and right after the wedding, he went to school and started to study. so he would not turn into an animal ever again. That's what I'm telling you. When you know foreign languages, they can help you out of many difficult situations. Why'd you take up all that space? Now the little one has no place to sit. You think just because you're bigger, you can be mean to him? I'd better tell you a fairy tale about a giant and a very small boy.
Tom Thumb.
Once upon a time, there was a family that had 3 sons. The oldest son was a strapping lad. The middle son was a stout as sparrow. And the youngest son was very small, real teeny tiny. The older brothers were very mean to their younger brother. They made fun of him, called him Tom Thumb, and teased him. They would say, "Tra-la-la, tra-la-lee, you're no bigger than a flea." One day, the older brothers went off to gather firewood in the forest and didn't take their little brother with them. But Tom Thumb was very clever. He followed his brothers, dropping pebbles along the way so he wouldn't get lost. The older brothers had gathered the firewood, but they were lost and couldn't find their way home. They started crying like little girls. That's when Tom Thumb showed up and told them, "Stop crying like babies, follow me." And he led his brothers out of the woods. The next time they ran out of firewood, they went to the forest again. Tom Thumb was right behind them, and he brought a piece of bread with him. He scattered breadcrumbs along the way, but the birds gobbled them all up. Poor Tom Thumb. Now he wouldn't be able to find his way home either. He went up to his brothers, who were having a picnic in a meadow. Suddenly, something rustled in the bushes. The older brothers got so scared they climbed up the trees, but Tom Thumb just laughed. "You are such chickens. It's just an ordinary cat." The cat came out of the bushes and said, just like a human, "I am an extraordinary cat. I am Puss in Boots." The cat looked so silly. He even had a hat with a feather. The older brothers, now in a good mood, climbed down the trees and asked the cat to show them the way home. But Puss told them he had no time because he had an important business deal with an ogre. He'd first have to deal with that deal, and then he'd show them the way home. The older brothers burst into tears again. Puss in Boots felt sorry for them and said, "Come with me to the castle," and spent the night there. So off they all went to pay this ogre a visit. The door was open, so they walked right into the great big hall and saw a scary, nasty ogre sitting at the table. When the ogre saw the 3 brothers and the cat, he said loudly, "Great, a tasty 4-course dinner, and served itself up to me." And he licked his lips. Tom Thumb was a very smart boy. He figured out right away that they were in the castle of a cannibal. Horrible! The cat winked at the boy slyly and said to the giant, "Mr. Giant Ogre, you're not a very good host, are you? I heard somewhere that ogres change shape to scare and amaze their guests. But I guess you don't know how to do that." The giant just laughed at him, then boom, he turned himself into a huge lion. The older brothers got scared and ran to hide under the table. But Puss in Boots didn't even twitch a whisker and told the ogre lion, "Well, that's not hard. Anyone can turn into a lion. But can you turn into something small, gray, and squeaking?" The ogre lion was stunned. Then bam! A small gray mouse ran across the table squeaking. Puss pounced at the mouse so fast that he flew out of his boots, lost his hat, and scattered the dishes all over the table. But the cannibal mouse got away by squirming into a jug. Tom Thumb knew exactly what to do and quickly plucked up the jug with a cork. The cannibal was trapped inside the jug. Everyone cheered. Puss put his boots and his hat back on and took charge of things. He sent the older brothers to bed. It would have been silly for them to sit under the table all night. Puss took Tom Thumb out the balcony and pointed out the way home. And then he put him to bed too. In the morning, the brothers left for home with Tom Thumb leading the way. From then on, no one was mean to Tom Thumb ever again. So now don't you forget, no matter how big you are, you can't be unkind to the little ones. Any Tom Thumb, if he is smart and brave, has the ability to beat the meanest and scariest giants of them all.
So. Where could all of the cartoons be hiding? Let's start an investigation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's look for cartoons to pick. I will press this microphone. Masha and the bear